Okay. Give it just one more minute. Bev, I'm excited to hear how the pros run these enrichment programs. You guys have such a wonderful program going up there. I've been telling everybody about it. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
We like it.
It seems like it's effective, doing the right things, and a great opportunity for young people to learn about research opportunities. And
We've got a bunch of young people on the call, so they're going to tell us how much they learned.
that's the right ones to ask. Okay, I'm going to start the seminar series. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us today for the Meet the Expert seminar series. And this is our second one this year. And this is our second year of these virtual meetings to be able to share ideas, share programs, and share opportunities. And one of the things I want to share with you right now, I'm going to share my screen to show you an opportunity for some funding. So this is, in case you haven't seen it yet, this is our new Center of Excellence in Hematology website. We haven't decided that purple is the perfect color, but this just came up live today. And so mostly what I want to draw your attention to is the link here that shows funding. If you click on that link, excuse me, you'll find a description of funding opportunities. There are two types of funding opportunities: type A opportunities, which is essentially core credits at any of the cores around the country, where you can, if you need to do flow cytometry or imaging or generate an animal model or measure iron or heme, you can apply for credits to be banked at any of those cores to apply to your research. The second type of application is called a type B award, and these are P&F funds to support innovative pilot research projects in non-malignant hematology. And I'm drawing your attention to please go to this website and read it. The application deadline has been extended and they're now due March 15th. So I hope that you'll take the opportunity to look here and learn about how to apply for those funds. And down at the bottom here is a really simple link of how to upload your grant application. So I'm really hoping that you will be able to go to this site and figure out if this is an opportunity that would be applicable to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, and now without further ado, I want to welcome Dr. Beverly Torok-Storb, who's going to today tell us about the enrichment program that is run at the Fred Hutch up in Seattle. Bev will tell us how long they've been doing it, but it's a wonderful program, and I hope that we'll all get opportunities to chime in and ask questions. The way we're going to run it is Bev's going to present for us. We'll have some videos, and then after that time, we're going to ask participants individuals who've participated in this program for, we're going to invite them for a question and answer where you'll be able to unmute yourselves and ask your question regarding the program. And so with that, Bev, enriching the future.
All right, we hope. First, let me introduce my co-director, Dave Vanier. He's going to be presenting part of this program today. And so we'll get started. And I think I want to start by saying it's generally agreed now that a diverse workforce, regardless of what kind of workforce it is more productive, more creative, and gets things done faster and better. And that it's generally agreed that that is true. And since we adhere to that, we have to ask ourselves, how do we create a diverse workforce? Because we must admit that most of the time we don't have one. So you hear a lot of people talking about the pipeline. I have to get some young students in, put them in the pipeline. They travel down the pipeline and come out the other end as something different. I don't like the pipeline. The pipeline is a closed system and it's dark inside that pipeline. And so I prefer to think of it as an interstate highway, because there are lots of places where you can get on that interstate and lots of places where you can get off that interstate. You can pull off temporarily and at a rest stop and get back on, or you can pull off permanently at a station where you want to be for your life. So I think a highway is a better way to think of what we want to do with these students. Get them on our highway, get them moving down the road, let them pick an exit to try out and see if it works for them, get back on the highway and continue to go. So bear that in mind, that's what we're thinking of. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dave, who's going to talk to you about one of the critical things that is needed for this kind of program. Go ahead, Dave.
Sure, yeah, let me get the slides up here. Yeah. Let me get the, yeah. All right, so hopefully everyone can see the slides now. Yeah,
Looks great.
Awesome, thank you. A little positive encouragement there. Yeah, so with Beverly, I help run a program. We started off as a summer high school internship program at the Hutchinson Cancer Research Center here in Seattle. And so the first thing really that to make that happen is institutional support. You can do all you want to, but if you don't have your organization behind you in a meaningful way, then that's not going to happen. So since we had a program for high school students between their junior and senior years of study, they're all pretty much under 18. And so the first thing we needed for them for a real authentic research experience was a safe place, a safe space. And so the center here has given us 2 laboratories. Here's one of them. Together they totaled 5 bays. And there's actually another one that we had for this past summer. So we had about 7 bays of active research lab space, which is astounding. You know, I've been in lots of different research institutions, and this level of commitment is pretty outrageous. So these are, you know, labs that could be used from R01 funded investigators. And I think the students know that. You know, this isn't some special room off to the side or anything. This is in the heart of our clinical research building. So it's a safe place for students under 18. It's been approved by our Environmental Health and Safety Office in guidance with Washington State standards for safety, and it's dedicated to students. You know, we don't have people rolling in here on the weekends with radiation or lithium bromide or anything like that. It's maintained as a safe space, and that makes a huge difference. And that is where the students are trained for the first week of the 8-week program. Once they're kind of brought up to sort of a skill level, they are sent off into in pairs into faculty-led research labs. So institutional space support with this dedicated space is huge, and getting something like that done. The next thing that's huge, which Beverly will talk about, is of course the students.
So Dave alluded to the fact that we've been doing this for a few years, and to show you how we grew and what our demographics look like, we'll just go through the group pictures from those years. This is 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. This was the bad year. This was during the pandemic. They couldn't be together for a photo. It was, everything was done remotely. That's 220. 221. Okay, so this is our student population. We usually get between 200 and 400 applicants for our positions every year, and we usually have between 30 and 50 positions available. We do not put a lot of weight on SAT or GPA. We rely more heavily on personal narratives, recommendation letters, some idea that the student has overcome adversity, and an interview is always required so that we can measure or get a feel for the commitment level of the student. Next slide. Dave.
We're getting there.
A little slow.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, so the next piece is in
Wait,
crucial.
wait, Dave, I'm sorry. There was more I wanted to say about the students. Is
Sure.
that okay?
Yep.
So we pick the students, and when we get them and interview them, we think we understand them to a certain extent. And we try to place them in the program in a research lab that they will be interested in and hopefully succeed in. We take a lot of information from the students about what they want in the program. They help to shape the program. So we've always used feedback from students as valuable information to move forward. For example, initially we had an intern going to a research lab. And one year we didn't have enough research labs, so we put 2 interns together in one research lab. And when they came at the end of the term to present their story, they marveled at how much more wonderful it was to be with another intern in the research lab. That they could hang together, they could, one would have a strength, the other wouldn't have, they'd share. And it would just became more meaningful to have a partner in the lab. So we changed everything. From now on, all our interns go with a partner to a research lab. So that's just an example of how they provided us with feedback. And the feedback allowed us to improve the program. Now, Dave, to faculty.
All right, so yeah, of course, another key ingredient in this whole mix is having faculty dedication. And so we, the faculty at the Hutch are very generous with their time, and they're very dedicated to being involved with high school students, as well as younger undergraduate students who honestly don't have a lot of research chops already. You know, they, because they haven't had the opportunity, right? They've taken perhaps a lab course if they're lucky in high school. The younger undergrads have perhaps had a lab course, but they're coming into the Hutch for that authentic research experience. And that authentic research happens in the laboratories of our faculty. We also use the faculty to provide content information during the orientation and training week. So we start the program, like I mentioned, with 1 week of orientation and training to mostly wet lab, molecular cellular based procedures, lab safety, things like that. And as Beverly mentioned, we send the students off in pairs into a faculty's lab. We have Cecilia Mullins up there pointing out some zebrafish embryos during a staging activity we did. And then we have 2 interns below working the TC hood in a faculty member's lab. And so every year we have about 40 faculty members at the Hutch participating in the program. And honestly, they tend to be more senior faculty because an assistant professor wouldn't necessarily have the time to do this while they're getting their lab up and running. So these are more advanced faculty who honestly don't have to do this, right? They're doing this because they want to, because they believe in what we're doing. They believe in the students, and they're more than willing to work with them in those research projects. Which brings me to the next point. We also rely heavily on the staff scientists.
Hey, let me
at
say
the
something
Hutch.
about the faculty here. Can I say something about the faculty?
Yep.
I don't want people listening to this to get the impression that our faculty are ready to go as mentors from day one. It took us several years to accumulate faculty. There were always a handful that were committed to the exercise, but many had never done it before, thought it was going to cost them too much in time, and didn't want to bother. But they would see their colleagues doing it. They'd see the energy that the students brought to the laboratory, and they would give it a try. And once they tried, they loved it. So don't be discouraged if you try to talk to some faculty and being mentors if they say no. Just know that with time, they'll come around.
Yeah, Beverly's making a good point. Like the energy and enthusiasm the students bring is just outrageous. You know, they're easily pick up whatever skills they need to be in a lab, but they've got that enthusiasm and they really want to be there, and they really seize the moment, and it lightens up a whole lab. So again, the next component is just not the PI, but there's the people in the lab. So the staff, the graduate students, postdocs, staff scientists, all sorts of people that come together to help make this program possible. So on a day-to-day basis, you know, in the lab, it's going to be a more senior graduate student, staff scientist, or postdoc who's really working with the student on a day-by-day basis. So that plays a huge role in what the students experience. We also have our scientific staff lead informal sessions over lunch to get to know the person behind the PPE, so to speak, who they are, where they come from, why they're interested in science, what they're doing, all those kinds of things, which make the experience more personal. Because our hope is that for all the interns that come in, that they're going to kind of bond or see themselves in at least 3 or 4 people, if not more, who are working at the Hutch right now and seeing themselves in being part of the research enterprise. And so it's not a small estimate to think that we have about 100 staff per year who help out with the program. I should say this isn't necessarily limited to scientific staff. We have our environmental health and safety people come in and train the students on what that's about. We have people from HR that come in to talk about what it's like to be in a professional workplace, how you get a job at the Hutch, sort of demystifying everything as much as we can to really give, there's a lot that goes on in the Hutch or University of Utah or other places, research places across the country. And so to really open up the eyes of the students to what makes these things happen. Okay, Beverly, you want to talk about the other programming?
So the other programming that we expose them to, first we do lots of things in workshops in groups. There's a group now in the lower slide that's talking about, they're meeting with a Hispanic oncologist who's talking to them about problems that they might have, things like that. So we do a lot of workshops where they talk about what it's like to be representative of a different group and how you work through that, how you made comfortable, how you act to make other people comfortable. And then in the upper shot, you have a Seattle public school teacher who teaches writing. And she comes every year to help these students write their personal narrative for their college application. And she's a fabulous teacher and she loves doing it. So these talented people are in the community. You just have to find them and drag them into your program. But the students really believe that this is one of the most important aspects of what they learn from us, is how to write a personal narrative. So then we also spend a lot of time talking about imposter syndrome. Some students never heard of imposter syndrome when they came, but they were certainly suffering from it. They weren't trying to do things because they thought they wouldn't be successful. In fact, we had a student this year who wanted to apply to Stanford, but she would not let anybody know she was applying to Stanford because she thought she wouldn't make it and that she'd be subject to ridicule. Well, she did make it. And she was subject to ridicule because she hid it from her friend. But she just didn't think she was good enough to do it. So imposter syndrome can cripple you by limiting your ambition to accomplish something. And it's a real force. So we spend a lot of time talking about that, drawing pictures of what imposter syndrome means to them, things like that. We also have career panels because it turns out that many of these students coming from limited backgrounds don't even know what jobs are available in the biomedical research field. They just think you can be a doctor, you can be a nurse, and they don't know about everything in between. So we have career panels, and the panels are made up of people who hold those positions. So they talk to them about what education they had to get to do that job, how long it took, how they're compensated for doing that job, how that impacts their family. So very well-informed examples of different careers are provided for the students, and they take the questions, they interact with them, they find out what they need to know. So this last item is blocked by our thing. Well, it's college and career. Yeah, we do a lot of work in terms of, do you want to go on to college? What do you want to do? And so we have all these workshops. So every Friday, we pull the students out of their labs and we have them do some activity together as a group. Because the activity is important in and of itself, but also because putting them together in a group builds community. And our students have been friends ever since day one, and they still retain these friendships. So we know we're building a community that they feel comfortable in and that they rely on for future goals. Next slide. Were you going to do community building or was I going to do it, Dave?
I can do it. So yeah, so this brings out more specific goal of building community, because honestly, the more the students can support themselves and be together, the better the program's going to be. So we do this formally on Fridays, where we have sort of scientific and those professional sessions. We also do fun things. You see the bottom picture, they're all in the Puget Sound there on a little kayaking beach party boat trip stuff. There's the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center is right on the edge of South Lake Union. So we go out into Lake Union on boats that we rent, tool around there and do a word scavenger hunt on words you might see from the water. So there's a number of opportunities that we create for the interns to be together, have lunch together. You see them up there. Fortunately, interns are also teenagers and they're very social. So they organize their own events, right? So I'm this old guy. What do I know about what high school or younger college kids want to do? So that's great. So they form their own chat groups. We do have a formal LinkedIn page for when they go out afterwards. So we do, but the interns organize their own stuff and they still stay in contact, which I think is something you're going to hear a little bit later. And I can't emphasize enough how important that is to have peer support as you're going through this internship. And just honest that you're doing some major things in life, college, deciding what to do afterwards. And we do have interns that come back after they've been in high school. So they'll come back as what we call lead interns. So they're there to help the new interns, to tell them what's it like, what's this Fred Hutch place, what are these labs all about, are people nice here, what's going to happen. And so again, planning some of these outside events. And so that's hugely important too, to provide this near peer mentorship opportunities in supporting our students.
And of course, both partners in a near peer relationship are deriving benefit. The junior person is learning what the older person learned just recently. And the messages are important. And then the older person feels gratified and important that they're contributing, that they've reached back and pulled somebody up with them. So it's an unbroken chain.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the bulk of the summer program. And the last thing I think probably is going to talk about is how we culminate the program.
You want me to talk about that?
Sure.
So at the end, every intern pair presents a reflection of what they learned during the internship. They do this in front of faculty, in front of their families, their teachers, and each other. And it's a very rewarding activity. It's quite celebratory. So that's one thing that we do. So the reflection doesn't just put down like a project that they were working on, but they have to tell how much they understand about the work that's being done in their mentor's laboratory. What is the work? What tools do they use? How many of those tools have you mastered? And then they're in a position, and many of them stay on after that to work in the lab. So it gives them an opportunity to work in the lab. And you're going to hear from some of the interns. Next slide.
Let me unmute myself. So that's really a scope of the summer program, but it doesn't actually stop after the summer.
No. Let me show this picture. This is, that's myself in the middle, and two interns flank me. Two interns that we happen to see all the time. To this day. And so we're here for them. Our family continues to grow. I mean, some interns, they don't need anything more for us and they're on their way. But some like to stay in contact. And we provide that contact and things for them to do. So these two had come back. Josh and Helena had come back to be lead interns, didn't want to sever their tie with us. So now that's sort of the story in a nutshell of what we do. What we have for you now is the interns' own words about what the program means to them. Okay, Dave.
Yep, so let me get the, yeah, we've had enough adults talking now, so we're gonna hear from the interns themselves on what this thing's really about.
Hi, my name is Simran Honda, and I attended the Fred Hutch Summer High School Internship Program in the summer of 2014. I then returned for a second summer and served as a lead intern in the summer of 2015. I don't think my testimony can really do justice to how transformative of a program SHIP is. It really changed the trajectory of my life. This was particularly important for me as a first-generation college student. Throughout my childhood, my parents had always instilled in me the importance of education, but I lacked access to the mentors and networks required to get plugged into the world of science and medicine. So that's really what SHIP did for me. It gave me the opportunity to network and meet physicians and scientists and ask them about their careers and finally start to envision myself in that career. And it was at SHIP that I could finally see myself as a person of color and a first-generation student as a scientist. And I didn't really have access to those role models before SHIP. SHIP also is a really unique experience because it allows high school students to become more comfortable working independently in a lab before attending college. And this was really important for me because I was able to jump into research as soon as I attended my first year of undergraduate studies because I already had these 2 summers of research experience through SHIP. So that was really key and really special. It was the opportunity to do hands-on research under the guidance and expertise of world-renowned scientists and physicians. Another really special part of SHIP is that every week we would have seminars or talks or lectures by physicians and scientists in all different sorts of career paths. And through those, we were able to start thinking through what sorts of careers we could envision ourselves in. So it was during one of these SHIP weekly lunch talks that I first learned about MD Ph.D. programs and physician scientists. So until then, I thought that I could only be a physician or a scientist, but it hadn't occurred to me that I could do both and synthesize the 2 fields and meet at the intersection to create something really important. So that was really what started me on this trajectory, and I'm currently an MD PhD student at Harvard and MIT, and I can honestly say that I would not be here if it hadn't been for SHIP exposing me to this career path, making me feel like I had a place in science and medicine, enabling me to have access to mentors like Dr. Bev and others at Fred Hutch. And for all these reasons, SHIP is really an invaluable program and very important for increasing the diversity of physicians and scientists.
Hi there, my name is Aya Idris, and my first year as a SHIP intern was 2014. The experience was completely transformational. For me, I had no exposure to careers in science and research prior, and when I was performing really well in my chemistry courses and enjoying it, my high school teacher recommended me to the program. In the program, I was able to learn various scientific techniques that I otherwise did not know existed, and also got to see the various career paths available if I chose to pursue this path. Throughout the summer, I met many successful people, and through mentorship, I was shown what steps to take to attain those goals and those positions. I had a growing hunger inside of me for research, but I wasn't exactly sure which path I would take. So I returned the following summer as a lead intern, which exposed me to even more career paths in science, and it also helped me to realize my aptitude and enjoyment of teamwork and leadership. I jumped at the opportunity to join as a college intern, and since graduating in 2019, I have been working full-time at Fred Hutch. I am extremely grateful for the opportunity and the mentorship that I have gained through these internship experiences.
Hello, my name is Leo Rodriguez. I'm a second year at the University of Washington, majoring in public health. I was grateful enough to be selected to be a part of the Fred Hutch SHIP 2019 program and their Pathways program in 2021. This internship program has really helped me develop the essential networking, planning, and social skills that have immensely benefited me in my college experience. Coming into Fred Hutch from a small school kind of gave me like imposter syndrome. It made me feel like I wasn't smart enough, but the coordinators had planned for that sort of thing because they created these events within the internship duration that would tackle imposter syndrome, understanding the science basics, a background of like ethics, which made me ease into the transition a little better. And I think that it really like also helped additional other students feel more comfortable about like what they knew and where they were at within like their level of scientific understanding. There are many like other wonderful selective internships that can provide you with the same scientific resources that Fred Hutch does, but I think one thing that separates them from the other programs is that they really focus on the character of their cohort, because not only do they train you to become better scientists, they also train you to become better people by providing you with different perspectives and putting you in like groups with different students with different backgrounds and different ethnicities. It's just like a wonderful place to work at because there's something so special about these programs because they cultivate such a nourishing environment that exposes you to so many different areas. And I was just so grateful to have been a part of that and advocate for it 24/7. I'm still friends with the cohort from my 2019 experience, and they're some of my best friends, and they helped me transition my support system that I created at Fred Hutch over to university, which has immensely been beneficial for me because I came from a very small school, and now being at this like massive institution, it's like been a lot easier because of the Fred Hutch program, and I'm grateful for it and always will be.
Hello everyone, my name is Barbara Biney and I am a first year medical student at Emory University School of Medicine. I participated in the SHIP program in 2013, which was a long time ago, but I am absolutely extremely thankful for for that opportunity. It introduced me to a level of professionalism and career options that I had never imagined or did not even know existed before. I am a first generation low income student, and so it was a very eye-opening experience. I felt like I was welcomed with so much love and just very embraced in regards to my interest in science, and I felt very well supported as well. I felt that my experience at the Fred Hutch definitely set me up really well for my college applications. I went to the University of Pennsylvania for my undergraduate degree in biology, and I stayed at Penn for my MPH. And I feel like a lot of my success at that institution was because of the experiences I got at Fred Hutch. It definitely provided me with a lot of confidence in my critical thinking skills and just general exposure to the science field. I will also say that participating in the Hutch in later years, I came back to mentor and be like a senior lead intern. So helping out with the high school students for these past few cohorts has been really, rewarding. I absolutely love talking to the students and teaching them all the things that I didn't know at that time. And when I tell you, the learning curve was steep. I had never heard of PubMed before. I didn't really know what research was, and to be able to communicate that information to other high school students who are unfamiliar with that and just see that aha moment and see their eyes light up is really rewarding. And also providing them with social and emotional support in regards to imposter syndrome, and just general maybe intimidation that you might feel as somebody who is first generation. It's just very, very rewarding to grow those connections with those students. But overall, I am absolutely so thankful for my experience. I still talk to Dr. Bev all the time, still keep up with her. I feel like I've made lifelong friends in this program, and I hope that it continues for the future.
Hi, my name is Makai Mansell. I'm a second year at UW Seattle, majoring in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology on the pre-med track. And I first started interning at the Hutch in 2019 through the summer high school internship program. I had no clue that I would still be here 3 years later, but I'm so thankful that I am. The Hutch is an amazing place for a number of reasons, one of those being the support system that exists here. From my PI to my lab mates to Dr. Bev, Dave, and Lori, there's always someone that I can turn to if I need support in any kind of way. And I'm at the point now where I can give that support back to others that are coming in. It's such a good feeling to know that you can give that back to people that need it. And just being at the Hutch in general is such a good feeling. Everyone here is working towards amazing goals and causes, and being surrounded by that kind of energy every day is such an inspiring feeling, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Hello, my name is Joshua Dawson. I'm a first-year medical student at Columbia pursuing a career as a physician. But honestly, some 10 years ago, that sentence wouldn't flow so easily off my tongue. See, 10 years ago, I was at Federal High School. I was a high school junior. I played basketball, I was involved in leadership. I even did well in school, but this idea that I could become a scientist, that I could become a physician, I didn't necessarily put two and two together so concretely at the time. It really wasn't until I participated in the SHIP program when I went up that following summer after my junior year of high school to downtown Seattle, to Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, where for the first time I saw what a lab looked like. I saw what mentors looked like. I saw peers who were also really excited about science. But it's important for me to also say that it also came with some imposter syndrome at the time, where some of my peers in the program, they were saying these crazy words like gel electrophoresis or PCR or immunoglobulins and staining, and I said, they didn't teach me all this at Federal High School. Sure, I had really incredible teachers, but we didn't always have the resources. See, that's what SHIP did for me. It provided these so critical resources and the diction to learn about what science was and where I could potentially fit in it. I have a family history of diabetes, of a disease that's so rampant within our community, but it wasn't until then that I thought maybe I could actually do something about it. And again, if I just reduced the program to the resources, it wouldn't tell half the story. It's because of individuals like Dr. Bev, like Lori, like these mentors who really care about me as an individual, as a scientist, as a human being. And I think that's what really makes the difference, what makes SHIP so special, and why it's the reason why I wasn't just excited about science or this career as a physician, but the reason that almost 10 years later that I stayed. See, even when I transitioned and I was really excited about science, when I transitioned from the internship program to undergrad, to University of Washington, it was really exciting, but it was also really difficult. But I had the SHIP program, the SHIP family, and again, Dr. Bev, emailing her and messaging her to say, hey, school's challenging, what do I do? And she'd be there every step of the way to say, you got this, we need you as the physicians, as the scientists of the future. And I held on to that. I hold on to that, even as a first-year medical student. And I think it's this idea that SHIP really instills from day one that this is really bigger than yourself. This is bigger than me, Joshua Dawson. And that's so exciting, but it's not just lip service. There are people who have your back in this program. There are people who want to give you the diction, give you the knowledge. And I, this is my room here in Columbia. I have pictures of Dr. Bev that she gave me one time, and even of the most recent SHIP class on my desk, just to remind me of that idea, that this is bigger than you, that that you got this, and that there are people who I cannot wait to benefit from this program, because for me, as a high school junior during that summer, it was life-changing. It's the reason why I decided after undergrad to go to the NIDDK in Bethesda and to pursue diabetes-related research. And I got to work in a really awesome lab that focused on glycoalkylation, and I got to work in a subsequent lab that focused on insulin and SGLT2 inhibitors and all these crazy words that, again, 10 years ago I could have never said. And again, a few years later, now I'm in this seat at Columbia. But I trace it back to SHIP. And it's because of the program that I'm so excited about science, the reason that I wanted to stay, the reason that I am excited about this career as a physician to address health disparities. Because it taught me two important things: that with resources and mentorship, somebody who really believes in you, like SHIP provides, I can do anything that I set my mind to. And so thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for believing in the SHIP program, because I believe in it, it believes in me, and I'm excited to pay it forward as a physician and as I keep going in this career. Thank you so much.
So those are wonderful videos, I think. But I want to give a shout out to Cameron Sharp, SHIP alumnus, Jacob Green, who's in the audience, a SHIP alumnus, and Ton. And anybody else from SHIP who wants to comment or say hi to their friends, go ahead. Mikey Miles is trying to get on.
You should be able to go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to talk or ask a question. I'm going to start it off by asking sort of a general question to the students, which is, what was the biggest hurdle for you to get involved in the SHIP program as you first heard about it? Like, what was the hardest piece to overcome to get you to apply even?
Hello, everybody. My name is Aya. And for me, although I had experience in a prior scientific internship the year before, it was very much a held experience in which they took like young high school students to various different facilities. And so when I was applying for the SHIP internship, I was unsure of how to even apply to a program like this where I felt they were expecting so much. And I guess that's where a bit of that imposter syndrome comes in. So my barrier was trying to figure out how to complete this application without a support system. My older siblings at the time were away at college, so I didn't really have that at home. And I guess this is a little bit of a tangent, but now moving forward with college applications and grad school applications, that same network that I had at SHIP is like the biggest resource to getting help with those applications.
Cameron Sharp.
Hello, Dr. Beverly, and happy belated birthday as
Thank
well.
you. Cameron was in the first 2011 photograph.
Yeah, I was me. Yeah, it was a long time ago, 11 years, 10 actually 12 years, because I started in 2010. But
That's
I
right.
think the thing is for us, the first cohort it was brand new, and we were just bright-eyed kids that were running around, and Dr. Beverly had to, and Lori will have to like rope us in, and we were very much excited but nervous because we didn't want to mess up. And we were the first high school students in the whole United States that were doing something like this. So we didn't want to prove Dr. Beverly right, that we deserve these opportunities, and that we deserve a lot of kids like us deserve these chances. So it was a lot of pressure internally to make sure that's right. But Dr. Beverly was always looking after us. She's always been looking out for me and all the other students. So she is definitely a mother figure to all of us, and she's always been there for us throughout the years, throughout the 12 years I know her. She always been there for me. So yeah.
I can jump in. My name is Jacob. I was a ship intern in 2016 and then a lead intern in 2017. And also was involved in the Pathways program in 2020. I think the thing that was most challenging for me when I was applying initially was having the confidence to do so. I had never asked my high school teacher or any teacher for a letter of recommendation before. And I, kind of was dealing with that doubt of like, oh, is this even a program that I would, that I would be able to complete or to get into? And so going through the program really helped me realize that, yes, this is, something I'm capable of doing. This is a field that I'm interested in. I mean, I'm so grateful for Dr. Bev and Lori and all the, PI mentors I had at Fred Hutch that, really gave me my first experiences in biomedicine and allowed me to have the confidence to, pursue college. And now I've just been accepted in medical school. And so we'll be starting that in the fall. And so I think, kind of building my own self-confidence and learning those skills of how to navigate science as an institution and navigate, the medical field really is an invaluable benefit that SHIP has provided me. And I'm so grateful for.
Hi, Micaiah here. I think that one of the hardest parts about initially applying was just working up the courage. Like Jacob said, it's just such a big thing when you're at that kind of transition point in your life. I had done one other internship program before, and it was a little bit smaller, it was still a really impactful internship. But when you're applying to work somewhere like the Hutch, that's a big name. That is a lot of other institutions that they're connected to and a lot of good things that come out of the Hutch. And it's really intimidating. I would say like an initial wave of imposter syndrome where you're like, this might be too much for me. This might be more than I could handle. But I think all of us interns would say we handled it and it was fantastic.
Micaiah, you went to present at a national meeting this year, didn't you?
Yes, I did. My lab didn't fly out ourselves, just my PI did, but I was able to present a abstract of my research.
At the ASH meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yep, ASH in Atlanta this year.
Very nice.
So I have one more question if I can ask it. This is Diane Ward at Utah. I'm trying to figure out how you guys all found out about the SHIP program. Right, so are you guys from the Seattle area, everyone who's attended? And is there, maybe this is a question also to Bev, is there an active program that goes out to the high schools to talk about the SHIP program?
There's not an active program to advertise because we get too many applications as it is. The first cohort found it because we posted it on our website and they were looking. And we just posted on the website. Soon after a few years, is word of mouth getting back to the schools, as you can imagine. And so our hardest job for those of us who work the program is to identify the cohort from the applications. It's enormously challenging because so many of the students are, deserving of the opportunity, and we can only provide it to about 10% of the applicants. So that's what we do.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me well?
Trying to figure out if there's anybody else who has a question that they want to ask.
Leo wants to say something.
Okay, do it, Leo. Pardon me.
Okay.
It might also be Lori's laptop if that's on.
No, it's not. I'm trying to get Beverly's speaker off. I need a mouse. She doesn't like the laptop. She control mechanism. There we go.
Okay.
That's what I do.
My name's Leo Rodriguez. I'm a second year at UW, and I did CHIP in 2019. And I think the initial obstacle that it didn't prevent me from applying, but like I almost didn't apply, was that because I came from like a really small school, my class size was like 30 students. And we had one science teacher, and he was being stretched too thin. So I didn't even get to take a chemistry class during my time in high school. And so when he like told me like, you should apply for this because like our school doesn't have the resources, but I feel like this would be very beneficial for you, I was really scared because I knew it was like a Seattle based internship. So I knew it'd be like kind of competing for a spot at a like really selective internship compared to all these like students who live in the city and have like significantly more resources. But I don't know, in the end it ended up working out. But I feel like just it's like I was comparing myself in terms of like what access to resources like my school had to like other students. But the Hutch is more, it's like Dr. Beverly was talking about, it's more than just like looking at grades and SAT scores. It's about the character and who you want to be and what you want to do with your career.
Thanks.
I can just add, by the way, I'm Simran, I'm an MD PhD student. When I was applying to this program 8 years
Can you
ago,
hear me?
there were only
Hear me?
like,
All right, good.
there were only 3 programs that I remember
Barbara, do you have a
for
question?
high school students. No. Can people hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead and keep going. Thank you.
Yeah, there were only 3 programs that high school students could apply to 8 years ago. So I applied to all 3, and this was one of them. And of the 3, I got into this one, just like by my incredible fortune. And I hope that like since then that there are more opportunities and that this sort of type of program has grown and expanded. But there weren't a lot of options back then. Yeah, so I was very lucky to have gotten into this despite I felt the same way, where I felt that because it was in Seattle and it was at Fred Hutch, that it would just be so competitive to get into. But
It was.
Yeah.
And I was super grateful to be a part of the 4th cohort. So by then, the popularity of the program had been kind of getting out, the word was getting out there. And my chemistry teacher actually recommended me to the program, which was really awesome because up until he did so, I wasn't even searching for summer programs. I didn't know that this was something that was available for a high school student. And then it's a paid opportunity, which is like even more unbelievable. So after receiving that information, I started researching other programs that I applied to and was very grateful to receive the opportunity to come to Fred Hutch.
See, the paid part of the experience has a lot to do with NIDDK because they offered supplemental monies at the end of the fiscal year that you could apply for. So we applied for those monies to pay for the lead interns, to increase the number of interns we could offer positions to. So the institute that's sponsoring this webinar had a lot to do with creating that program. You might want to give them a round of applause.
And I wanted to add something real quick, is that the fact of the matter is, this is what Dr. Beverly said previously, but I think I have met a lot of the PEEP students that's in this call, but also in the video. And the fact of the matter is, I'm so proud of each and every one of them because they're all doing absolutely amazing job going forward. And I think the thing was like when I met them, when we all met each other when we were in high school and beginning university, you know, we had dreams, and now I'm seeing each and every one of them accomplishing those dreams and accomplishing those goals and being and exceeding what they wanted to do. So I'm really proud of. I don't know how I know Dr. Beverly probably 100% feel proud of all of us, but I'm really am proud of everyone too, just because seeing everyone grow is remarkable to see. So yeah.
So Cameron, are you still in Toronto?
Yes, I am still in Toronto.
Why do I have to ask that question?
I know. I hoped I was able to see everyone in the reunion in December, but unfortunately Omicron took over, so that's unfortunately ruined everything. But you know, hopefully one day, um, now that this year might be the year that we're able to see each other again, and
Right.
can't wait to hug you, Dr. Beverly. So yeah. Thanks.
Any other further salutes or questions?
I just wanted to say something. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Barbara. I'm currently a medical student at Emory University in Atlanta. I think one thing Dr. Bev just mentioned that is very important that really stuck with me after I had left the Hutch was the fact that we had stipends. And I think that made all the difference because it allowed me to understand my value, my worth when it came to my work. And so in undergrad, when I was in a research lab and I was working for free, I felt completely comfortable asking my PI to pay me because I've been paid before. And so it was interesting because I was actually very surprised how many opportunities are out there that don't necessarily provide financial support to their students. And so it definitely set me up in a different mindset in regards to what I feel like I could take away from my various experiences. So I just wanted to add that because I literally had never worked for free until I went to Penn for undergrad. And I thought it was very interesting because I know Penn has a big endowment. No shade on to Penn, but so I think that was very interesting. And I'm just glad that she thought about us in that way. Because I worked at like a grocery store in high school. And it was nice that I could like not have to work there and worry about that over the summer because we were being supported in that way.
Right. So Diane, is that our time is up?
Yes, it is. And what a great, first of all, presentation, testimonials from all of you guys in support of this program. And hopefully we can get it out there to more individuals and be able to model it at different places. We do not have such a program here at Utah. So what a great opportunity for me to learn more about it, to figure out the narrative to maybe start thinking about something like that here at Utah. So congratulations to all of you.
All I want to say is this is the future.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank goodness. You guys are awesome. It makes me excited and hopeful for the future. So way to go, you guys.
Thanks for joining.
Anybody else want to show themselves or unmute themselves to visit for 1 sec? You are welcome to. I owe an apology to Mike Miles. He sent an email and I missed him. I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of this presentation and was not checking my emails. So
I think he's back.
That's
There
my
he
fault
is.
for not.
There's Mikey Miles.
Hey. Yeah, that's my fault for not reading the seminar flyer close enough. So sorry about that. But hello, everybody. Cameron, Dr. Bev, everybody. Hey. Yeah, Dr. Bev's great.
Just want to let everybody know that if you want to go rewatch it, it will be posted. This is recorded and we will post it up on the CCEH.io website for you to be able to go watch it again if you want to, or refer somebody to it if you have that interest.
Mikey, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Dr. Bev.
Anything else that we want to add, except for, I don't even know. Congratulations again. Great program, clearly great mentorship, and all of you are the future. So thank you so much. And thanks, Bev and Dave, for the presentation and for student testimonials.
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to close the meeting for now and stop the recording. Thanks so much, everyone.